Here will be the biggest difference between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton in their campaigns. Here she is after the New Hampshire loss. She talks about she's starting to co-opt all of Bernie's issues, right? So now all of a sudden she wants to get universal health care, all this, but she has a different way to get there, and all this stuff. And now she wants to get money out of politics. Now she wants to help make college affordable. Now she wants to break up the big. But here's what she says about Wall Street and money in politics.
I will work harder than anyone to actually make the changes that make your lives better. In this campaign, you've heard a lot about Washington and about Wall Street. Now, Senator Sanders and I both want to get secret, unaccountable money out of politics. And let's remember, Citizens United, one of the worst Supreme Court decisions in our country's history, was actually a case about a right-wing attack on me and my campaign. A right-wing organization took aim at me and ended up damaging our entire democracy. So yes, you're not going to find anybody more committed to aggressive campaign finance reform than me.
Okay, now there's a couple of key words there. So it sounds like she's now co-opting Bernie Sanders' message of campaign finance reform. But if you listen even closer, she's not. What she said was, I think we're both here. We'll play one more time, and I'll.
I will work harder.
She will work
than
harder.
Anyone.
Now listen, here it comes.
Make the changes that make your lives better. In this campaign, you've heard a lot about Washington and about Wall Street. Now, Senator Sanders and I both want to get secret, unaccountable money out of politics.
So she said, we both want to get secret, unaccountable money out of politics. And she goes on to tell the story about Citizens United, how it came about because of a thing involving her. Yes, Bernie Sanders also wants to get unaccounted money. He wants to overturn Citizens United just like you do. But he also wants to get rid of accounted for money.
Yes.
She's super cool with the way they've been giving us money before Citizens United. Totally cool. Everything's cool. You know, all the money I took from Wall Street and all the money I take from Walmart and all the money, that's all the money I get for speeches, that's all totally cool. She's totally cool with that. Bernie Sanders is not. You don't hear her calling for public financing of campaigns. She's not calling for that. She still wants all for donors to have all the influence they possibly can have. Because those are the same people she raises money for the Clinton Foundation for. Those are the same people she hobnobs with all the time. That's the world she's in now. So those are the people she serves. Those are her donors.
So she's talking about taking us back to before Citizens United, which I don't know if anybody remembers this, but before Citizens United, we'd already had the McCain-Feingold bill, and it sucked. It had all kinds of unintended consequences that made things worse instead of better. So
she only wants, let's keep in mind, she only wants to get rid of unaccounted for money, meaning the dark money you can't trace. But if you can trace it, that's okay. Give me all the money you want, no problem. Here's what she said about the effects of money in politics, because she likes to say that you can take money and it won't affect you, just like President Obama took money from Wall Street and he regulated them. According to her, here's what she said before.
I think it's important to point out that there are a lot of reasons we have the healthcare system we have today. I know how much money influences the political decision making. That's why I'm for huge campaign finance reform. However,
I'm not for the kind of campaign finance reform that will really make a difference. I'm for the kind of campaign finance reform that's kind of on the surface and still leaves the core of our campaign finance system completely corrupt.
Say, do you think Hillary losing in New Hampshire will affect her Wall Street speaking fees?
Well, I think
from
they
what
just
I
went
hear,
up.
she is fighting to, raise the speaking fees of all Americans. She fights for a living speaking fee.
That's how she's so progressive.
Yeah.
She's fighting for the speaking fees of all Americans.
Completely. And what she wants to do is eliminate the appearance of influence so they don't have to answer these questions. Yes. Bernie actually wants to eliminate influence. That's a huge distinction. Huge.
But it's an interesting tack that she's taking. She wants to take credit for that all the ridiculous attacks against her has inspired horrible legislation like Citizens United. She's somehow taking credit for that.
Yes. Isn't that funny?
All I know is there's a special place in hell for me.
Yes. Yes. So now here she was. Here's the big problem, right? So when people like Chris Matthews look down their nose at people like Bernie Sanders and his supporters, and people like Frank dismiss us as we're pie in the sky, we're not in reality. Here's Rachel Maddow, and she's going to point out the problem. By the way, all those people in New Hampshire who voted for Bernie, those were blue collar, those were working class, those were rich people. Bernie won with everybody in New Hampshire except for senior citizens and people making over $200,000 a year. So all those other people are just crazy and pie in the sky and want something for nothing, or are they real people who want a real revolution in this country? And they know that we deserve it and we can have one, okay? So here is what's really wrong with the politics of the Democratic Party and why Hillary's losing. Here's Rachel Maddow.
And there is a big revolving door in the tech industry and the highest flyers in the Democratic Party. David Plouffe to Uber, Jay Carney to Amazon, Chris Lehane to Airbnb. You have speaking fees from companies like eBay and Qualcomm and Salesforce.com. And I'm not saying any of those companies is a bad thing, but the tech industry rivals Wall Street in terms of money and influence. What is the protection that the American people have that those industries aren't just going to keep getting what they want, even when it hurts the rest of us, especially if the Democrats are so in bed with them?
So that's the problem. And that's what people feel like. We have nowhere to go now. The Democratic Party used to be where we went when we were upset with the control of corporations over our lives and our economy and our country. But now the Democrats got in bed with them because of her and her husband. And this is Rachel Maddow saying right to her, what are the assurances that when the Democrats are in bed with these people, that the legislation that gets passed is going to be in our interest and not in their interest? Because we all know it's been in their interest for the last 30 years, which is why we have the biggest income disparity since the Gilded Age. Why we have the booming economy and people are still struggling. Why we have college debt that is unheard of. Why people still go bankrupt when they get sick because the economy is rigged. And she's saying that because the Democrats are in bed with not only Wall Street, like Bernie's been saying, but also all corporations. She's just mentioning the tech industry. That's her. And let's hear what Hillary has to say about it.
But anybody who thinks that they can influence what I will do doesn't know me very well. And they can actually look and see what I have said and done throughout my career.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that.